Hi, everyone. My name is Jennifer.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Sharif.
We are here today to talk about and go over some common questions that we've been seeing on LinkedIn, on various other forums of just questions that people are having in regards to their job search and career, in regards to what's happening right now with COVID-19. And we're here to answer them.
Yep. Looking forward to doing this session. So a little bit about me. My name is Sharif York. I'm currently a product UI UX designer at AT&T. Just my background, I have done freelance for several years. I've also started doing a few talks, and my goal is to be on TED Talk very soon.
I'm an implementation manager, project manager at a large fintech asset management firm, as well as providing career coaching advice to and consulting services to clients and schools around the Atlanta metro area.
Nice, nice, nice. All right, so I guess I can start off with what I got. So I guess like the first topic would be the industry right now and like tech jobs and just jobs that are currently not necessarily affected, but are affected by the COVID-19. I'm sure like a lot of companies are affected by it. But what are like from your perspective, like what are some jobs or companies or even tech companies or whatnot that are doing the right thing or the wrong thing in this current situation of the coronavirus that's taken over?
So I would say some companies that are approaching this in the correct way are all the firms that have reached out to their employees and have communicated that they won't be doing any layoffs, ensuring their employee base that their role is secure. So I think Microsoft is doing a good job at this. But any firm that right now is basically reassuring their employees that their job is secure is the utmost important thing right now, and still paying them, even though this isn't such a big issue with tech companies, because a lot of the times you can work from home, but a lot of companies where you need to physically be present, I think the biggest thing they can do right now is still pay their employees, even though they can't physically go to work.
Right, right, right. Okay, okay.
What about you? What do you think?
So what I think is there's a lot of companies out there who and again, like this whole COVID-19 ordeal, it's definitely affected a lot of industries, especially like around the world, and even companies that are interconnected with other companies. So, and from my perspective, a lot of jobs are still in effect. They're still running just because they have like that online presence, whether they're fully online or whether they have some type of online presence where they have to use online tools. There's tech jobs, there's game companies. I think that a lot of them are utilizing the online space, for instance, like hosting their data or keeping their data or sharing their data across the industry, especially with using like online cloud services to share that data across the nation or whatnot. So I think that's a really good ordeal for them. Yeah.
So along those lines, what are some industries right now that you would say are the most affected by COVID-19? Maybe some companies that aren't approaching it in the right way.
So I would think the main industry that are really affected, especially, is probably like healthcare industry. Like the hospitals or medical emergencies, as well as physical labor jobs. I think, well, actually, honestly, probably like a 50-50 with the physical labor because one, you have like a ton of industries or jobs that are completely affected by the coronavirus, especially ones that are in the hot zones and the ones that are outside. So like you got companies like Amazon, you have companies like Walmart or Target, some of those larger chains, those mega corporations, those are still in running. They're still up and running. But then you got companies like some of the companies that are actually based, for instance, in Wuhan. A lot of those physical labor jobs got canceled. Like everybody was laid off just because people who work there, or even people who have their entire supply chain or their entire field is based off of shipping into Wuhan or different areas of China. They've completely shut off. So that's like one of the terrible effects of it. But then you also have good jobs like some of the corporate level online again, like, some of those areas are still up and running. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say I think that anything having to do with retail,
Mhm.
restaurants, hotels, travel, such as airlines, is not the industry that you should be focusing in on right now if you're looking
Right.
for a job. Because those are the ones that have really been affected the most financially, that can't function at their full performance.
Mhm.
So those are the ones that I'm seeing where people are getting furloughed, laid off,
Right.
and have been affected the most. But I think one big misconception right now is that people aren't hiring. No one's hiring right now. There's no point in looking for a job. The companies aren't hiring. But just because how some industries have been negatively affected, there's some industries that right now are hiring like crazy and need more people, such as healthcare. They're
Yeah.
super overwhelmed. So any of those other companies or industries that branch off from like healthcare, or maybe those companies that are hiring a lot, they're still moving, they're still in motion.
Yeah. 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 No, completely agreed. Completely agreed. What are your thoughts on like the healthcare industry, like in depth? I know you spoke about that in a second ago, but like, what do you think about the healthcare industry right now? Like, what's like them being on the front lines? Like, what's your perspective on that?
Yeah, so it depends on the type of clinic. So if it's a smaller clinic, they're being negatively affected. Dental offices negatively affected. Anything that's not basically emergency care right now is negatively affected because people are opting not to go in for elective surgeries, for things that aren't urgent things, because they don't want to be around a situation where they know maybe other people affected by COVID-19 are going to be around. So those more elective medical services or anything dental right now is being negatively affected. But large hospital systems, emergency rooms, those are the ones that are super overwhelmed, of course, in need of doctors, nurses. But
Right.
along the same lines, the number one job that I've been seeing is communication specialists in healthcare. So it's not just nurses and doctors are in high demand right now. Along with that, you're going to need reimbursement analysts and other administrative business back end part of the healthcare system jobs that are in high demand right now because of the overwhelming number of patients that are walking to the door.
Yeah. 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 No. 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 Completely agree. Completely agree. Okay. Um, do you have any questions that you want to bounce off of me? Before
I would say, how do you, so my, one of my biggest questions that I personally have, and that other people have been asking as well, is how do you think once this is all over, things start to shift back to normal, how do you think this is going to affect the workforce overall? Like, do you think we'll just go back to normal, or how do you think this is going to affect the workforce moving forward?
Sure. So, um, I think it'll affect it in various different ways, right? So, a lot of people, it's gonna hit them hard, like it is right now. But once it, potentially, give or take, like if we do get back to normal, I think that it's gonna be probably like give or take like a couple weeks to a month, maybe 2 months top, for people to actually get a job again. Because I know a few people, and there's a lot of people, like a lot of layoffs that have happened right now. I feel like it's probably going to be a couple of weeks, some time to actually get back their job or get back in the industry, right? Especially if you don't have that opportunity to work for like online companies, or you have like your own business that's actually like selling online or whatnot. So yeah, again, like I feel like it might take some time, but I'm sure like there's going to be systems in play to help people get back their job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll get a job eventually. It's just going to take some time, just because of everything that's going on right now. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna ask you a question real quick. Like, so what do you think of the ability to work online? Like, what are
Like
your thoughts on that?
home?
Yeah, so like working from home, people who have a full-time job that is still currently running till this day, as well as people who actually have like an online business and have that type of opportunity to work online and have a ongoing business that's still up and running. It's still going good. It's still going well, even though we're in this COVID-19 issue.
Yeah. I think I mean, it's a huge blessing. I'm one of those really lucky individuals that can work from home full time. So I definitely think it's a we're in a very lucky group of people. But I do think, referencing back to the last question, I think it is going to, moving forward when things return back to normal, whatever that will look like. I think more people are going to start heavily demanding and asking for those work from home opportunities, because we're seeing a lot of companies that used to say, oh, your job can't be done from home, it can't be done remotely. We're seeing now that indeed it can be done remotely and it can be done from home. So I think the
Right.
long effect that it's going to have is more people working from home, and individuals and employees really pushing that flexibility, so that companies will provide that moving forward.
Okay. Okay. No, that's a great answer. Yeah, I think so too. It's definitely going to be like a lot of opportunity that some companies should completely switch over their work to online. I actually know somebody who is a UX designer, working on like software for airplanes. What do you call it? I can't remember the name of it right now, but they work on different software for like that, and they
Okay.
have like a strict. Her company actually has like a strict way of doing things in terms of like working from home, working for the office. I think she gets either 1 day of the week to work from home. I'm not too sure, but I'm
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure now they fully have to work online.
Right.
You know. Let's see. I got a couple of topics on like freelance and online courses, and
Mhm.
trying to see. Hmm. What? Dang, I just had the question. Dang it. I was gonna say. Oh, yes, yes, yes. So, what are some ways do you think, from your perspective, like what do you think are different ways people can adjust to this working from home ordeal? Like, what are a few? Like, give me a few different tips and tricks, and even just different ways to work from home that could, work from your schedule or,
Yes.
some type of motivation or whatnot.
Yeah, I think it definitely depends on your situation. If you have children that are at home right now because schools are out, it obviously impacts it even further. But I think across the board, some tips would be to still set a schedule for yourself. It's easy to fall into that trap of you have a 9 a.m. meeting and you're rolling out of bed
Mhm.
at like 8:58. But make sure you're setting a schedule for yourself, even when you don't have meetings, to still be doing work, so that you don't fall off from your usual like amount of productivity, and also having a set work from home space and environment. So not all of us have a home office, but still do your best to not work from your bed or something like that, whether it's the kitchen counter or something. Try to allocate a specific area, a consistent area that is your work from home space, that's hopefully away from other distractions like your TV, your bed, anything like that.
Yeah. I completely agree. Like different ways that helps me work from home is like, secluding my space, or like getting into a space that, is I can get away from the distractions, put away put away the game, or put away the TV. The TV's in another room, I'm in like an office space of mine.
Yeah.
But like I need I need like an area to focus specifically on my
Mhm.
work. In general, like working from home is hard to do enough just because you're at home, you're in your comfortable space. But if you can tell yourself like, hey, I need this time to just focus on my work, focus on my business, whatever the case may be, just doing stuff like that just really helps.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I agree for sure.
Um, do you have any different takes on like, the freelance industry right now?
Um, I think right now is a the landscape looks negative, but I think it's a really great time to leverage uh, what's going on right now to your advantage if you do freelance work.
Mhm.
So whether it's reaching out to those different entities that need, for example, communication specialists. There's a lot of healthcare organizations right now that can't update fast enough. Like they're trying to get information out to people as quickly as possible. If you're anything in freelance, whether it's writing, graphic design, any type of freelance work. I think right now is a really good opportunity to work on building and scaling your business and freelancing those services to companies that are in a surge of need right now.
Right, right. Yeah, no, completely agree. Um, yeah, I think that, working freelance is definitely a good opportunity, but, there's a lot of different ways to make it successful, and there's a lot of different ways that where you can start off unsuccessful. But, I like to say, fail to succeed, to where you you try your hardest, but again, like, you try for like weeks and weeks and weeks and you fail. But, that next week that you continue trying, probably still fail, but that one week that you tried again,
Mhm.
this time around, everything is good. You've probably succeeded this time. And that's the thing with freelance. Like, you never know if you're reaching out to your clients or to potential buyers or people who need something done. A lot of times they might say like, "Hey, you're charging way too much," or "That's just the right amount," and then you work for them, and then next thing you know, that's a potential client going forward. So
Definitely.
yeah.
I do have a question that someone actually asked me today, and I hadn't thought about. So one of their concerns after all of this settles, and something that they brought up, is that they feel that many jobs after all of this will become automated. Um, so what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that this shift in the workforce is going to influence or speed up that process of a lot of jobs being automated? Or do you think it won't affect it at all?
No, I think, ooh, that's a good question. I think that there's going to be a high barrier in terms of like automation for a lot of different industries, for sure. Like, I definitely agree on that. But there's definitely going to be still like a lot of other industries that will have some type of workforce still working for it, whether it's not automated, right? So, there's a lot of companies out there who have the potential to jump forward in terms of automation, but they still need that initial workforce, this initial backing to actually start, their business or whatnot.
Yeah.
I do definitely agree. Like, there is going to be a huge jump in automation just because of it's like a come to realization, right? To companies realizing like, oh shoot, we could actually still work from online. This is probably like, people are definitely going to still work hard online versus, we let them go home and work or whatnot, or, just industries like that.
Yeah. I think for those industries or roles that people suspect are going to go or be automated, I think going back to the like e-learning question, this is a good time to make sure you're continuously learning, maybe building up your freelance opportunities so that if you are put in a position like that, you have something else to transfer to. I think that's one of the biggest things too, is that people right now are, other than on top of financially feeling the brunt of COVID-19, they are really emotionally uh, going through this, seeing how a lot of companies that they thought, oh, I've been working for this company for 20 plus years, they would never furlough me or lay me off. They're really going through that process of realizing that the company doesn't have their back. So I think right now a lot of people are solidifying that they want to have a side hustle or a passion project or something that they grow as they're working, so that they aren't left in a position with zero income.
Exactly. Yeah, no, definitely agree. Definitely agree. I have a couple of friends who are in the tech industry, and one of the things that they first started off with, as soon as this happened, the whole quarantine thing, is that they jumped straight forward onto their side hustle, their side business. One of them is a developer who builds iOS applications, which is for like iPhone, right? So they're building apps and here and there. And I also have another friend who's building websites. So they completely jump forward, jump shift right onto that. And even then they still have a job that's a full-time job that's still working from home. So they kind of have that opportunity. And there's a few other people who I think have, got laid off, or they just have to be quarantined right now just because of the whole, the
Yeah.
whole issue, and they don't have the opportunity to work online. So
It's gonna be to ask like your advice or any like tips to people who are currently searching for jobs right now.
sure. So
Yeah.
I would say right now is definitely a time to actually jump on a few different platforms. One being LinkedIn, one being like Indeed, There's a ton of websites out there. You just have to do your research, but there's a ton of websites out there in terms of like actually reaching the industry
Yeah.
to companies who have those online job opportunities.
Mhm.
And again, like we talked about before, there are companies who are hiring but are very slow, and there are companies who have jumped ship and are hiring like crazy just for the
Yeah.
online industry, right? And working from home. But you do have to have that online access, right? I think that another thing is that if anybody told, and this is not specifically talking to you, but like talking to everybody, if
Yeah.
anybody has told you like to don't use LinkedIn because it's a scam or it's just
Oh,
crap, it doesn't do anything. No, please, like you need to hop on LinkedIn right now. I think LinkedIn is potentially the fastest way to make connections just by
yeah.
reaching out to somebody and say, hey, do you have a job? Can we sit down and talk? And again, like even if we didn't have this quarantine thing before, it's reaching out to people, talking with them and seeing if you can actually go, if they're in your state, talk with them over coffee, right? That's how you make those connections. That's how you solidify that connection.
Yeah.
But now we're stuck at home, so try to make that online coffee date, that coffee meeting. That's the most imperative thing.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. Use this time to optimize your LinkedIn. If you're not on LinkedIn,
Mhm.
I agree. Like the number one tool, when I tell people that they want to work on networking, grow their network, meet people that have certain jobs and certain industries, mentorship. LinkedIn is a really great way to engage with content that's on LinkedIn and meet other people that have a similar either mindset or similar interests that you have career wise.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I think like a few other things would be to, never give up. I feel like, a lot of people have given up on different things, right? So, excuse me. So my thing is like, if imagine if you're working hard for a goal, right? This goal is 10 days, no, not like that's like 20 days every day. How about that? Every single day, put towards that goal, right? Reaching out to the industry, applying online every single day. Imagine if you skip that one day. Guess what? That would never been an opportunity. But if you did not skip that day, if you went forward, you did the exact same thing. You never know. There could be an opportunity waiting to happen, and then next thing you know, you got somebody reaching out to you. So I just think that the ability to not give up is the most important thing, because if you do, you never know what can happen. So I guess that's like my biggest advice to people is just to never give up. Like just work hard for it. You never know. It can happen.
Yeah, that consistency is the most important thing, I think, with applying to jobs. It's, sometimes people will say, oh yeah, I've applied to 5 jobs, 10 jobs, 20 jobs, I haven't heard anything back. Like you need to be reaching out to dozens and dozens and dozens of people and applying everywhere, in a smart strategic way, of course, but it is something that's very consistent that needs to be done.
Exactly. Exactly. Um, I would say like so. I guess like one of the last things from me is, what is your advice to people who are looking to actually like get out there, get into the industry, to brand themselves or to start a business, since we're in this whole quarantine effect? Like what is your advice to that, to somebody who is like freshly starting, they want to start like that online business or an online platform? Like what's your advice to that, or even just a business in general?
Yeah, I would say a lot of people right now probably feel very deterred to start. They feel like it's not the right time. But right now, people are not, because they're not leaving their homes, they're not going to work, they're not sitting at work all day, they aren't able to go and hang out with friends, go to the gym, things like that. Everyone right now is online. People are sitting on LinkedIn, they're scrolling on the web, they're looking for things to do, to watch. Um,
Hmm.
so I think if your business is something that can have an online presence, I think it's a great time to create that content, whatever it is, whether it's a podcast, you want to showcase your graphic design skills, videos, engaging with people on different forums, because that's what everyone is doing right now. People aren't out and about; they're sitting in front of their TVs, in front of their computers. So I would definitely encourage people, because you actually will probably reach a lot more people right now.
Hmm. Exactly, exactly. Yeah, I potentially know a lot of people who are just sitting down watching movies, and then you got a bunch of companies out here who who have already won. And what that means is you got like Netflix, you got like Disney Plus, you got
Yeah.
Hulu. These companies have won. And what that means is like, hey, they won the crowd. They've I think they have like free subscriptions for a few different things. I'm not sure. But there's our like HBO Max. They've got
Mhm.
free movies out there now. So it's like this is a perfect opportunity for people to just sit there and relax and watch movies. Like, no, you should be out there grinding. You should be
Yeah.
reaching people on LinkedIn. Stop, scrolling on Instagram. I know a lot of people who are
Yeah.
scrolling constantly on Instagram, just looking
Mhm.
at random stuff. Even on what's that newer platform?
Yeah.
TikTok. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people, and even then, like there's people in the industry who have a business, but this is a perfect opportunity for them to reach out to people on TikTok. They have
Mhm.
their business on TikTok. They even have a business on Instagram. Like,
Yeah.
you should switch your whole mindset over to not just scrolling, constantly scrolling, looking for the next funny thing. Switch over to marketing your business on those platforms. That is
Mhm.
the best thing to do right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Everyone, thank you so much for watching today's video. Once again, my name is Jennifer, and some final thoughts that I had is I just want to encourage everyone to keep empathy at the center of everything that they're doing right now. Everyone is either directly affected by this or indirectly affected by this in some manner or fashion. So I would just encourage everyone to make sure they're being empathetic with those around them. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. All right, this is Sharif again. Remember to connect with us on LinkedIn or YouTube or whatnot. Definitely keep your head up. Also, strive for those goals. If you have a business, if you have a book to read, please open up that book. First off, blow the dust off that book and open it up and read it, okay? Um, Definitely do not give up in this time, because this is a time to not just relax. I get it, relax, take off the stress out. But this is a time to start building those goals, start achieving those goals. For me to motivate myself, I take like 30-minute walks a day. But since we're stuck in the house, honestly, I'll turn on some type of, I don't know, yoga music or jungle music. I don't know. I turn on something like that, just like clear my head. So I can start thinking about nature, or start thinking about something that is not about work for 30 minutes to 45 minutes. And I kid you not, you will come back refreshed to do the next biggest thing that you can do. So, with my last minute thoughts, keep your head up, strive for those goals, and do not give up. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate your time, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks, guys. Bye.